In the headlines tonight, US-Africa summit said to be an opportunity to fix strained Ethiopia-USA relations. India and Ethiopia colorfully celebrate 75th anniversary of diplomatic relations. Good evening to you all. Very warm welcome to ETV News. I am Grum Tariku. Redwan Hussein, a national security advisor to Ethiopian Prime Minister, said that the US-Africa summit, which happened recently in Washington, created an opportune platform to explain all about Ethiopia over the past 2 years. The security advisor stated that the forum made it possible to strengthen the bilateral relationship between Ethiopia and the United States in a win-win approach. Johannes Fantown has more on this.
The US-Africa summit ended with Ethiopia receiving high attention. Redwan Hussein, national security advisor to the Prime Minister, said that Ethiopia was able to explain the undue international pressure it has been facing for the past 2 years.
This forum has created an opportunity to meet US officials who were taking a position based on unsubstantiated information heard on media and from a distance, to explain the situation in detail, especially to explain the reform works before the conflict, as well as to highlight the works that the world had given up and which were actually bringing about change in a country.
The National Security Advisor Minister explained that it was of great significance for Ethiopia that this US-African summit was held the day after the Ethiopian government took responsibility and did many things to solve the problem of the northern part of the country peacefully. He also added that the agreement reached in Ethiopia has laid the foundation for restoring the stagnant relationship between the two countries.
In view of the fact that we have changed the situation on the ground and made it was a platform to strengthen the relationship between the two countries, we have been able to reach the bodies from the legislature to the executive. As many African countries are happy with the agreement reached in Ethiopia, it was a platform that created a favorable environment for us to meet in person and create a better relationship.
Redwan, who pointed out that it is not necessary to have a relationship based on minor problems in Ethiopia, explained that Ethiopia expressed its desire to work in partnership and cooperation with America and various international institutions and reached agreements. He underscored the support announced by the World Bank is a demonstration for this.
The current hope is that pressures on Ethiopia will decrease over days. The World Bank has released more than $700 million of support. Other support will continue in the same form. But from our side, apart from support, Ethiopia has many opportunities. So we are interested in working together. During our discussions with various members of Congress and senators, we reached an agreement on working together.
የኮንግረስ አባላትን ሴናተሮችን ለማግኘት ሞክረናል። በዚህ ረገድ የተሻለ መተማመንና እድል ለመፍጠር ተሞክሯል ማለት።
The National Security Advisor Minister said that the US-Africa summit created opportunity to fix the strained bilateral relations between Ethiopia and America.
Indian Embassy to Ethiopia colorfully celebrates the 75th anniversary of the two countries' diplomatic relations on the premises of the embassy today. During the occasion, Indian Ambassador to Ethiopia, Shri Robert Shetkingtong, called on the people and the government of Ethiopia to further bolster ties between the two nations' development endeavors. Kasaun Chane reports.
The relationship between Ethiopia and India is historical and dates back hundreds of years. In an exclusive interview with BBC English, Indian ambassador to Ethiopia said his country is keen to strengthen the long-standing relations with Ethiopia and a wide range of issues of common interest. According to the ambassador, the Indian community has been contributing a lot to Ethiopian education and other investment sectors.
One of the most visible aspects of our relations is education. I think if we speak to people of the older generation, they would invariably recall their school teacher who would have taught them either science or mathematics. So we have a number of Ethiopian teachers who even taught in interior places in Ethiopia. In recent times, we also have Indian faculty in public universities. And Ethiopian students form one of the largest group of students from Africa studying in India. So education is very visible.
India is among the top largest foreign direct investor countries in Ethiopia, with over 600 Indian companies operating in various sectors.
The next aspect would be business and economy. Business, because India has substantial presence in the business sector. About 650 Indian companies are registered with the Ethiopian Investment Commission, and I believe about 350 Indian factories are active on the ground. I only want to say is that as we celebrate 75 years of diplomatic relations between Ethiopia and India, I only want to say that it is the friendship between our two people that goes back about 2,000 years ago, the contacts we had through trade, then the contemporary excellent relations that we have in every sphere. I only want to say that the peoples of our two countries have shared these excellent relations. Let us expand our relations in every way so that in the end, both the people of these two countries, Ethiopia and India, can only benefit. And I just want to end this interview with this small slogan, Jai India, Jai Ethiopia, which means India wins, Ethiopia wins.
He added that India supports a solution that respects the territorial integrity of Ethiopia and an African solution for outstanding issues, appreciating the government of Ethiopia and a TPL of peace deal efforts.
Ethiopia is a sovereign country. Ethiopia must make its own solution for its own problems. And in the context of the agreement that was signed in South Africa, what I only want to reiterate is that peace must win.
It was noted that Ethiopia is one of the first countries in Africa to establish a diplomatic relationship shortly after India gained its independence in August 1947.
Ethiopia launched Yelema Turufat development campaign in early November. It focuses on nutritional opulence. The traditional food container Lemat represents a link between farmers, pastoralists, and consumers. Food self-sufficiency is directly linked to national sovereignty and dignity, and Yelema Turufat campaign accelerates efforts to achieve food self-sufficiency at the family and national level. Tigist Reza comes up with video graphics.
ሌማት ማለት ብዙ ትርጓሜ ያለው ጥሬ ትርጓሜው ለምለም እንጀራ ማለት ነው። በሌላ በኩል ማዕድ ማለት ነው። ሌማት ቤተሰብ የሚበላበት ማዕድ ነው። ሌማት ላይ ከተረፈ ከቤተሰብ ተረፈ ማለት ነው። ከቤተሰብ ከተረፈ ወደ ጎረቤት ሄደ ማለት ነው። በቤተሰብ ደረጃ የምግብ ራስን መቻል ጉዳይ ኢትዮጵያ ካረጋገጠች በሀገር ደረጃ ያለው የምግብ ራስን የቻለ ሩጫ የሚሳካ ይሆናል ማለት ነው። በሚቀጥሉት 4 ዓመታት ዶሮን፣ ስጋን፣ ወተትን፣ ማርን፣ አሳን ማትረፍረፍ እንፈልጋለን። ይህን ማድረግ እንችላለን። ልክ እንደ ግሪን ሌጋሲው፣ ልክ እንደ ስንዴው፣ ልክ እንደ ችግኝ መትከሉ ተረባርበን በአንድ ድምፅ ህዝባችን አሳብረን ከሰራን እንችላለን። ፕሮጀክት መጨረስ ባህል ሆኖ አሁን ያሉ ዋና ዋና ሜጋ ፕሮጀክቶች አልቀው የሌማት ትሩፋት ተሳክቶ በእያንዳንዱ ቤተሰብ ማዕድ ላይ ምግብ ከተረፈ ለምርጫ ባትወዳደሩም ችግር የለውም። የአንድ መንግስት ዜጎቹን መመገብ የሚያስችል ስራ በተርም ሰርቶ ምግብ የተረፈባት ኢትዮጵያ ካለች እኛ ቀጠልን አልቀጠልን ዋና አጀንዳ መሆን የለበትም። በሚቀጥለው 4 ዓመት ግን ይህን ማሳካት ግዴታ ተደርጎ መወሰድ አለበት።
Ethiopian Green Legacy Initiative is gaining international acceptance. Responding to ETV, African history researcher Taganu Gosa suggested that the Green Legacy Initiative should be further integrated with economic policy too. Goshumeliso has the following report.
Ethiopia endorsed a climate-resilient green economy strategy in 2011, and it has multiple targets as it naturally touches on various targets of the 2030 Agenda. Contribution to food security is one of the objectives. The recent initiative spreaded by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has succeeded in planting 25 billion seedlings by mobilizing more than 20 million citizens throughout the nation. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed awarded Outstanding Africa Leadership Award for his Green Legacy Initiative. Talking to ETV, African history researcher Taganu Gosa said Ethiopia's Green Legacy Initiative is gaining international acceptance.
Countries in the world in general, especially the so-called developed world, are grappling with how to translate into meaningful action. When Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed arrived in America, one of the first recognition he has got is the job, what Ethiopia has achieved in terms of combating really this global climate change and the crisis that's looming. And this is very much important. The Green Legacy is the Prime Minister's personal policy initiative, and we are seeing results on the ground.
He suggested that the Green Legacy Initiative should be integrated with economic policy too.
I think this policy initiative should grow and be integrated into the entire economic policy of the country. And because I say so, because we cannot sustain the achievement that is registered in the agriculture sector specifically without working equally, or to be honest, more importantly, on the environmental issues.
The initiative, Taganu said, is a lesson for other African countries and should serve as a springboard.
Down the line, this will really give a lesson to other African countries that are struggling with the same issues and suffering specifically from climate-induced crisis. Just lately, you heard from DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, how many people died from severe flooding.
In order to realize the initiative, more works are needed to be done at grassroots level, the researcher noted.
Ministry of Transport and Logistics announced today the launch of National Blue Economy Strategy in collaboration with Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD. Minister Dagmawit Moges stated that the development of National Blue Economy Strategy and implementation of same is one of the core initiatives identified in Ethiopia's 10-year perspective plan and National Logistics Strategy. The minister indicated that the strategy further promotes collaboration for sustainable partnerships and projects in various sectors of the blue economy and interventions to mobilize finances from public and private sources. The newly launched National Blue Economy Strategy is projected to run from 2023 to 2027, the minister further confirmed.
viewers, now I'm preparing to host the news package of the day. Our reporters are always striving to present you fresh stories on Ethiopia's socio-economic and political affairs. And we, the presenters, we always strive to present to you the stories in a way that you can relate to. Before I head to the studio and present myself to the audience, I have to look presentable.
Hello dear viewers, I'm Tabitha John and this is Addis News Hour. Do stay with us.
Welcome back, and you are watching ETV News. A water expert says the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, GERD, should be considered as a symbol of regional economic integration in addition to its contribution to Ethiopia's socio-economic development. Makonnen Ayana, a water engineering scholar at Adama Science and Technology University, stated that Ethiopians should strive to safeguard their national interest by conducting enhanced diplomatic work on transboundary rivers, including GERD. The expert also reiterated the need to have strong communication and water diplomacy efforts in order to correct the wrong narration being propagated by some in the downstream countries on Abai and other transboundary rivers. In this regard, much is expected from scholars and universities to work together in coordinated manner to the realization of national goals, the scholar added. Currently, Ethiopia has been striving to supply electricity to neighboring Kenya, Sudan, Djibouti, and South Sudan. Ethiopian Agriculture Authority disclosed that the country has earned more than $41 million from the export of meat over the past 5 months. The authority stated that the nation is working to export 28 tons of meat to the international market during the current Ethiopian fiscal year that started on July 7, 2022. Export Abattoir Inspection and Certification Director at the Ethiopian Agriculture Authority, Dr. Ayalu Shumate, told Ethiopian News Agency that the nation has generated $41.8 million by exporting 5,900 tons of meat to the international market during the first 5 months of the current Ethiopian fiscal year. According to the director, Ethiopia is working to export 28 tons of meat to the international market and secure more than $150 million during the current fiscal year. Ethiopia currently has capacity to export 200,000 tons of meat annually to the international market, he said, adding that several activities are underway to realize this goal. Ethiopia is endowed with significant livestock resources and holds the largest livestock population in Africa, estimated at around 70.2 million cattle, 42.9 million sheep, 52 million goats, and 8 million camels. Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait are the major market destinations of Ethiopia's meat product, it was learned.
The 70th Global
It's expected that Ethiopia is Ethiopians
Our news is always aired on Monday to Friday on 11 a.m. and 9 p.m. and also on Saturday and Sunday on 9 p.m. Make sure to follow us.
Countries adopted a historic deal to reverse decades of environmental destruction threatening the world's species and ecosystems at a marathon UN Biodiversity Summit in Montreal, Canada, earlier today. Some of the main points of the agreement include maintaining, enhancing, and restoring ecosystems, including halting species extinction and maintaining genetic diversity. The sustainable use of biodiversity, essentially ensuring that species and habitats can provide the services they provide for humanity, such as food and clean water, was also agreed. And ensuring that the benefits of resources from nature, like medicine that come from plants, are shared fairly and equally that indigenous people's rights are protected. A plenary session had been convened at the end of the day to adopt this peace pact with nature, which the plant sorely needs to stop the destruction of biodiversity and its resources. Over now to a quick reminder of the headlines. US-Africa summit said to be opportunity to fix strained Ethiopia-USA relations. India and Ethiopia colorfully celebrate 75th anniversary of diplomatic relation. Well, you have been watching ETV News. Thanks for your company and have a great time.